And then what was the other one? So there's another movie that was announced. Oh, The Dawn of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going back. So we've done this in Legends. They actually had a book called Dawn of the Jedi, and I
Yep.
believe there was a whole era.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm remembering correctly, I'm forgetting what the comic series was called, but they did a whole era of like these comics, and there was a couple novels where they went
Mm-hmm.
way back in time and showed the origins of the Jedi. Remember, it was like a different
Yeah.
way of
Well,
saying the
there was
word.
also those short stories, right? That were like the very, very beginning, almost before, like pre-dawn, almost. So yeah.
Yeah, so they've definitely toyed around with this idea in other material, but the fact that they're doing it in a movie
Yeah.
is going to be pretty big. And, I have to imagine that they're going to kind of go their own direction with it as far as not really trying to stick to what has already previously been put out there from a Legends perspective, but maybe they'll incorporate some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that will be very interesting because it's really kind of untrodden territory where it's like, man, they could do just about
Oh
anything
yeah.
there, like the
Yeah.
light versus dark and all
It's not
this.
quite the Old Republic that I know people would love to see with Revan. It sounds like it's pre-Old Republic.
Well, they're
Uh,
tiptoeing around the Old Republic.
right.
We have the
High Republic
High
now.
Republic, which is after the Old Republic, and now we
Yep.
have Dawn of the Jedi, which is before the Republic, so the Old Republic. So at some point they'll give us something smack dab in the middle, and maybe we'll get some Revan and all that. But right now,
Yeah.
yeah, they're just going all the way back to the beginning. So it could be anything. It's really hard to speculate unless maybe there's been some blurbs added or some interviews that have happened since I saw this news. But
Not that I've seen so far.
yeah, I don't know
But
any more information other than it's going to be. Is this the one directed by James Mangold?
yes,
Okay.
Indiana Jones, the new Indiana Jones movie.
Which he was the one that was rumored to be making a Boba Fett movie back in the day.
Was he?
Yeah.
Forgot.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So
Well, now that he's done with Dial of Destiny, he can go do the Star Wars movie.
yeah. Um, and then they did. Apparently, there's been more information, or I think they showed a trailer for Skeleton Crew.
Hmm.
I think it was revealed that Jude Law is actually playing a Jedi in Skeleton Crew. I thought I saw somewhere.
Oh, that's cool. I hadn't heard that.
I'm just gonna read just because I'm seeing here. So I'm still on, just to give him credit, Entertainment Weekly. And then it says Jude Law is gearing up for his very own space epic and Skeleton Crew, the series which was developed by Chris Ford and Spider-Man No Way Home director John Watts. Takes place within the same time frame as Ahsoka and The Mandalorian.
Okay.
Is it part of the
Okay.
Mandiverse?
Probably not, but
Probably not. A young group of adventurers will attempt to find their way back home after getting lost. It's a wide galaxy, Filoni explained. It's more dangerous than you think.
I'm excited for
Uh,
this one. And it's coming out this year. This probably the fall release, I'm guessing, because they don't really Ahsoka's in August, so I'm guessing Skeleton Crew will be like November, maybe.
Yeah, and so I had seen some stuff on Twitter, people that had actually that attended this that were kind of recapping what the trailer looked like. You can see the kids that there's a picture here on Entertainment Weekly that shows Jude Law with three of the kids that are
Hmm.
cast in this. They're very young. Like I'm talking like even younger than, or maybe at the very earliest days of oh, well, I'm blanking on that. What's the Netflix show that everybody likes about the kids and the upside down and
Oh, Stranger Things.
Stranger Things? That's yeah.
Yeah.
So they look very young, like the early days of Stranger Things young, if not younger than that. So, it'll probably be geared more maybe toward a younger or teenage audience to an extent. But you bring in somebody like Jude Law, he's a pretty established, well-known actor as well. So
Yeah.
he can definitely bring in the adult audience too. I thought I had seen somewhere that he was a Jedi. So some more information's trickling out, and then hopefully they'll release the trailer online eventually, or I'd like to see that for sure. I haven't
Yeah.
seen any leaks of it yet.
No, they've been holding their cards close to the vest here for Skeleton Crew, and it's it sounds interesting. I They kind of framed as like a Goonies meets Star Wars type of thing, young
Hmm.
kids versus the Empire. I'm very interested to see what it's like. I feel like we don't really know that much. Although I guess actually, sorry, Dave Filoni is an executive producer, so maybe it is part of the. Filoni verse. Um,
Yeah, it could be.
but I don't know. I'm interested. I think the title of the show doesn't. I don't know if it helps it a lot, just because it's a little vague. Will
Hmm.
people? I don't know if people would just be like browsing Disney Plus and see Skeleton Crew and be like, "Ooh, what's that?" I don't know, but I want the I want
Jude
the show to
Law.
succeed.
Jude Law will be the draw.
That's true.
Acolyte. So they some interesting news around Acolyte. For one, they did have a trailer, I think I heard.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool that they did. Um, and then they announced that we're gonna get Junus,
Yes.
the guy who's been playing Chewbacca.
Lunas Suotomo as a Wookiee Jedi.
He's gonna be a Wookiee Jedi. So, and this is set at the toward the end of the High Republic era. We have seen some Wookiee Jedi in the High Republic, like books and comics. He may be playing one of them, or maybe it's a completely different character altogether. But I mean, good for him getting now. He's done sequel trilogy movies. He's done
Mm-hmm.
Solo. Now he's gonna
He's their resident Wookiee,
yeah,
and I love it.
he's the new Wookiee. So, and I think he does a great job. I was just watching Solo again the other day and just kind of forgetting how much I enjoyed the scenes between him and Han. I think he does a really good job. So that's cool for him that he was able to get cast in that role, and the fact that there's going to be a Wookiee Jedi in a Star Wars thing, in a Star Wars
I
live
love
action,
it.
not just
I love
animation.
it.
We've seen him in animation, but it'll be cool to see it in live action. Um, let's see, what else did they say? So I'll just once again reading a blurb from Entertainment Weekly. If you weren't already interested in the Acolyte before, then Leslie Headland's initial pitch to Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy might seal the deal. The showrunner said she described her vision for the series, which is set in the High Republic era, as Frozen meets Kill Bill.
It's a very odd
Like how
description.
could you have any two movies that are further apart as far as style and content?
Right? It's I don't even know. I don't even know. My brain can't even wrap. I can't even wrap my mind around what that means.
I'm hoping it's not a musical.
Right?
Uh, yeah, that is very interesting. Headland also
You
noted
want to
that
be a Jedi? Yeah. No.
the series will focus on the dark side of the Force at a time when it was at its weakest. This is when the bad guys are outnumbered. Headland said they are the underdog. Yeah, it makes sense time wise, right? Like we're at the end of the High Republic era, kind of getting into the prequel era. This is when we know that there should only be a couple Sith around, like there
Yep.
one master, one apprentice, maybe some random strays that are out there, but for the most part, dark side users are pretty small amount at this point, and the Jedi are kind of at their peak. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of potential in this story being super cool, and I really hope that with all of the establishment of the High Republic in the novels and in the comics, I hope that they just reference them like to no end.
Yeah.
I
That'd
hope
be
there's a
awesome.
big connection in that it's not just like, oh yeah, we did the High Republic stuff, but it really doesn't they don't talk about it in the show. Like
Right. No, no, no.
they better be mentioning characters
mean,
like
the
every
other
other.
cool thing is I don't know about you, but sometimes when I read stuff, as much as I enjoy it, it's hard for me to like get attached to something, and then you watch it and you get attached to these characters, and then when you go back and read the book, it's like, oh, I have an emotional attachment to these
Yeah.
people. And so I'm very interested to see, do we get a lot of the existing High Republic characters that have been in the books in the show?
I don't think we
And
will, because
I mean, it's
set.
before, right? It's
So it's
early
set
on.
like significantly after the High Republic novels that we've known so far, is what I
Yeah.
understand. Because the High Republic is supposed to be set, and I'm not remembering all the years off the top of my head, but it's something like 200 years before the prequels, or maybe it's 150 years
Right.
before the prequels. And this is supposed to be
Yeah.
set kind of at the end of the High Republic era, right before the prequels.
That's true.
So I think we might
Okay.
have a good 100-year gap between,
Yeah.
if not more, between the novels and this
Okay.
show.
So maybe not then, but
But they did introduce the Wookiee Jedi, who we know Wookiees live
they're much
a
older.
very long time.
Yeah.
So that could be a character that would carry over. Yoda is another character who has shown up in the High Republic era, who we know is in the
Yeah.
modern stuff. So he could show up. So there are definitely characters that are long lived that could show up and add that connection. But
Yeah.
um but I'm sure we'll get mentions of characters that we've seen in the books and stuff. So and then there was some footage shown, appeared to show Carrie Ann Moss's character utilizing the power of the Force.
Okay. I guess not too surprising.
Uh
There's
and
probably gonna be
then
a lot of Force users during this time period.
Yeah, and I had heard also in some of the footage that I believe Lee Jung Jae was shown as a Jedi as
I think
well,
so.
which was new
Yeah.
news. We hadn't known that before. Um, oh yeah, it says Lee will star as Jedi Master alongside Kelnaka, the first live-action Wookiee Jedi. Okay, so we know it's Kelnaka, which is not an existing character in the High
Oh,
Republic,
interesting.
who will be played by Suotomo, the actor behind Chewie. And
Okay,
then
so
it said,
Kalnaka.
it was my first time touching a lightsaber, Lee said, and I'm still shaking from the experience.